Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector. Welcome back, Ben.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Balloons, streamers. Yeah, woo, yeah.
We're going to put them in post, right?
Great. Now, where's Jacob? No, just kidding.
I thought he did a great job. I
thought he did a great job, man.
Yeah, so thanks, Jacob. If you're listening to this one, thank you very much.
I struggled a little bit, and I'm happy you're back, but I'm glad. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, thanks, man.
How was your trip to Paris?
I had a really good time. I'm, in case you can't tell, European. English people are European as well, despite what some people in England think.
What?
And I hadn't been that way in a while because of, all of the stuff going on and the pandemic and everything. So it was really nice to go back to Europe. And usually when I go to Europe, it's good to see my family, to go, just go home to England and see my friends and family.
Not a pandemic anymore, though.
Right. But I guess what I was going to say though is I never ever get to go anywhere but home, because like if you're an expat, you always have to just go home. That's what you use your vacation time for. So it was nice to go somewhere other than home for a change. It was cool.
At least you get to go somewhere. I usually use my vacation for like the other coast of Florida. So,
Oh, trust me, I'm not complaining. I know it's my bread's buttered.
Right. Here. Like, well, let me, boo-hoo. Ben had to go to Paris. I feel so bad for him. Wow.
I had a really nice time. That's
awesome,
amazing.
Man. Well, we did miss you. But I think we had two fun episodes, and yeah, man. And then I have to talk about the other thing that we've been discussing this week is our YouTube channel is blowing up.
Right. Thanks so much for everyone who's been watching the episodes. Yeah,
absolutely.
We went from a few hundred to multiple thousands of views in the last month or so, and it's just amazing. Yeah. So all of our new listeners, thank you so much. Watchers, I suppose. Yeah. Viewers. Yeah. All of our new viewers, thanks so much for checking out on YouTube. And do us a favor and like and subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It helps us out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely does. Helps us come up better in the algorithms and everything. Not that I know a huge amount about it. All I really know about algorithms is the word algorithm. But, apparently it helps for that. Yeah. So, please like and subscribe on there. And thanks so much for watching. It means a huge amount to us. We've been doing this for just over a year, and it's so nice to see it, starting to take flight. It's badass.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah, and this week we have an amazing guest. Perfect timing, seeing as all of a sudden we've got all these viewers. We have the most amazing drummer maybe I've ever seen. Ruston Grosse, incredible planet.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and congratulations on making it back from Europe. That sounded lovely. That's cool. No,
yeah, I had a really nice time.
Did you only go to Paris, or were you in other parts?
Well, the way it worked was it was my sister's wedding.
Okay,
and she had booked it 3 years ago. She doesn't even live in France anymore. She lived in France for years, and she booked it 3 years ago, and then everything happened, so we couldn't do it, and it was postponed, and then finally we got to do it. And just went over there for 10 days, hung around, and we got to go to possibly the most metal place in the world, the Catacombs.
Yes, I know. I saw that. I was like, oh, this is so cool, man.
Yeah, awesome, I've wanted to go there for years, ever since I knew it was a thing. So
you didn't find the underground raves or anything?
Here's the thing. I was with my family and everything.
I was going to say he was with his mom, so probably not.
So you're like, Mom, I'm going to check this out real quick.
What is that sound?
I mean, my mom is pretty cool, but I don't know if she's like a rave in the catacombs cool.
Maybe ballroom dancing in the catacombs, but not a rave.
Exactly. And also, I know that my sisters, I'm getting confused with family members. My sister's husband, he has seen people coming out of like the manhole covers in the road. Yeah. So people do go down there, and I think they go down there quite a lot. But I think it's one of those things you sort of have to be a local to know about.
Yeah,
you got to be invited.
Creepy.
Yeah, or have a different kind of YouTube channel, where you do dangerous stuff like that. Exactly. Maybe we could pivot.
Urban exploration. 561 urban, and it's just like a shack in like a field. Exactly. 561 urban exploration. Right.
It'd be like
an abandoned Arby's.
Like those ghost hunter shows, man, but we'll be like hunting raves in the catacombs.
Yeah, I feel like we have the right vibe for it. We're both like middle-aged dudes with beards and baseball caps, you know.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah. We're definitely cut out for that kind of show.
I left my hat at home. I was going to wear it. I'm serious. I would fit right in.
No, it's good. You know, really sort of like rounded it out with the smooth.
Well, I figured I'd fuck with the lights a little bit, you know, to try to like deflect a little bit and, you know, blind everyone watching, all the new viewers. I got to sharpen them up, you know.
I feel like when I met you, I had a lot of hair.
I did have more, and then like, you know, fatherhood. No, I don't know. No, it was definitely going, and I was like, man, like enough, and I just started shaving it. And
well, it's a good look. You know,
I like it. It's comfortable. It's easy. It's comfortable. You know.
Talking of things that are very metal, this is very metal.
I guess so. I'd rather have long ass hair and look like, you know, some kind of metal Jesus or something. But yeah, you know,
true. I could never do it either. I could never do the long hair. It was never something that worked out for me either.
I used to have it back in the day. It was great, dude. It was like all down here, and I'd pretend I was in Holland making bread in a windmill or whatever, you know. But now I just look like a thumb. So
I feel like I met you the same day that I met Rocky Rucker, which was probably about 10 years ago at the South Palm Beach School of Rock.
Yeah, almost. It was probably like 10 years ago. That's crazy. Yeah, that's when I first moved to Florida.
Really?
Like 2014, probably. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And it was.
Where are you from?
Originally from New Jersey, don't tell anybody. But I lived in Philly for years, and then my ex was a marine biologist, and I had family down here, so we're like, let's just come here. And she was like going to school and shit, so it's like, makes sense, you know?
Yeah. My wife is a biologist too.
Very cool.
Yeah. We obviously share a penchant for scientists.
Yeah, you
my
know
wife
what?
is oh no, she's not.
I was thinking about that today. It's always like science people, bartenders, or like vet techs. Like always. Like I don't know why.
I can get down with that. People always ask me about that. They're like, you know, I think it's just I'm not sure I could. I've never been attracted to like other musicians that much.
Dude,
I don't know why.
Me neither. Like, I'm not attracted, but I never got like I've never hooked up with anybody or gotten with anyone that liked metal ever. Even like at a concert, like any times that it happened, they didn't even know I was playing a show or anything. Like,
not attracted to is the totally wrong word.
No,
it's just never worked out like that.
Yeah.
I'm a little offended. I thought you were attracted to
me. Well, maybe it would make more sense if they showed the guitar behind you. I don't know.
But anyways, the getting off our penchant for biology.
Right.
Let's get into some music stuff. So I know you sort of primarily as a drummer, but you're a multi-instrumentalist, so you can play pretty much anything.
Yeah, the doctor always said I was artistic, so you know, it's terrible. It was funny. I was talking about this like yesterday too. Just thinking about like when I was a kid in high school or whatever, rather than, you know, like actually finishing my day of school, I would cut half the day, go into the music room, even though I didn't have like music class or anything. And the guy was super cool. I mean, he was just like, God, please don't ever get us caught doing this. But he would let me like set up. I would take this old Tama kit and an old Pearl kit and put them together in this like sound room and literally like cut from lunch. Like I would go shove food down my face at lunch, go into there, and then do that for the rest of the day until it was time to go, and then hop on the bus. Then go home, then do that on drums, guitar, bass until I'd hear like fucking pounding on the wall.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not every day, but like a lot of times. And I'm like, man, you know, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, now I can make no money on several instruments. You know? Yeah.
It's fun. I feel like with music sometimes it's almost the same as science in the sense that you can become overqualified.
Yeah, for sure. I know. Good.
So you get to a certain level of good where it's just like I'm not sure that the bar could handle that. I don't know how we're going to hire you.
Can you just play the 4 on the floor? I'm not asking for fucking Jazz Odyssey right now.
Yeah, totally. That's funny. So, I was the same way when I was a kid. I used to hold myself up in the music school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a boarding school and it had like a separate building that was just for music. And I just lived in it.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was so lucky, yeah.
That is cool to have something like that, you know what I mean? Or just the availability to even get into it. Like,
yeah.
Do you remember like the moment that you knew like you were like hooked on it?
Yeah, I do. I was doing it for some reason when I was young. I went to like a lot of schools early on. I don't know whether that was like me or that we were moving around. No one's ever really told me why that was, but
Yeah.
but
Where are you running from?
yeah. But in one of the schools, I think it was like the second or third primary school that I went to. I was still pretty young, and they put me in a play, and I got to sing a song, and I just loved it. And
That's so cool.
And I was just all about it. I was singing my little heart out on stage, and everyone was like, "Wow, you're a really good singer." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I must be." And then I would, from that moment on, I was like, "It's going to be music," and I would be drawing pictures of myself. You know, I had this like cartoon sort of band that that was all cats, and they were called, for some reason they were called Touch. I don't know why. It was like it was like this little boy band of cats.
Yes,
Touch.
They later became Brian Setzer
That's
Stray
amazing.
Cats.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm just like, go on.
Yeah, I was like really young. I always used to draw these little cats playing, and then it was just drawing pictures of being in a band and playing music, and that was just all I cared about from the youngest age.
Now you're a cool cat playing music on stage. Like, I mean,
out.
for real though, like that's funny.
Yeah, totally, man. So what we do usually is we kind of, we start off from these early experiences and ask you about that. Do you have family in music?
So my dad sang all the time. He had like a 5-octave vocal range and like smoked 4 packs of cigarettes a day. It was crazy. And like actually just recently, my mom passed away recently, and I was going through all this stuff. And my best friend Pat was here and I played with him in so many bands. But and he's like looking through these tapes, and he found this tape, and he's like, "What is this, Tom? Wonderful." And I was like, "Oh shit." Long story short, it's my dad like singing fucking doo-wop and like harmonizing with himself, and it's unbelievable. Yeah, and like I don't know. So my dad always sang. My mom played like flamenco guitar when I was a little kid. Wow. But it was funny. I love them both. They're great. They were fantastic people. But like I remember them telling me like, "Oh, you got to be in the right place at the right time to make it in music." And I found out that they're fucking wrong. You're wrong, Mom and Dad. You got to fucking make it happen.
Yeah,
not that
absolutely.
I have made anything happen, but like it's just funny. But yes, so there's my long-winded answer.
No, not at all. And picking up on what you're saying about the. I think there's just so many common misconceptions with music like that. It's the way that I've made a living doing it is just by stubbornly continuing to do it.
Exactly. Do it for real with anything. You just like double down on what you're good at and keep fucking doing it, and maybe try to figure out like a better way sometimes. But like, you're doing well.
Well,
let's congratulate each other.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Likewise, if you can afford to be alive, that's
for real. That's
really
increasingly so
Yeah.
nowadays. But yeah,
exactly. So you family and music. Did they encourage you when?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I remember playing. So this is funny. I played in a few bands, but this one band when I was like 16 or 17 called Encaged. And it was other
Encaged.
But
that's cool,
it was funny, and I like drew the logo on my bass drum, and but the kid that had started the band, like he kind of was like a rich kid, and like his family had money, but whatever, he was amazing on guitar and wrote these great songs, but they were able to like buy onto shows, so like, and he needed a drummer, so I started playing drums, and we played with like all these metal bands, Immolation, we played with Hate Eternal, Nile, Arch Enemy, and Origin in this one show. And I remember like both my parents, even though they weren't together, like coming and helping me and taking me to this show, like a fucking hour away at this like crazy club in South Jersey.
How old are you at this point?
16.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And like I probably shouldn't even have been in that fucking place, even though I'm like smoking weed with the bands in the back and my parents don't even know. But anyway.
Sure.
And like,
I bet you were like pretty
now.
tall and like broad when you were young too.
And that's how I met a lot of bands back in the day, dude. I'd be like, "Hey," and they're
Yeah.
But not that I do that anymore. But anyway, yeah, and they were both there. And this is when this band Arch Enemy had just kind of gotten their previous singer. I'm not a huge fan of them, but like this woman, Angela Gasso, who's amazing, unbelievable vocalist. And, she's like, "Rah!" and like fucking growling and screaming, and just like hot, like Swedish lady, And both my parents, I remember looking at them and I'm like rocking out, and we had just finished playing, and they were like doing this like flip-flop band thing. So we were between like all these amazing bands, but in another room.
Oh,
and
right,
then,
yeah,
so
I
when
gotcha.
Arch Enemy went on, they're standing there, and I'm looking at them, and both of them are just like, and they had they were blown away, and it was the funniest fucking thing. But I keep telling these long ass stories, but like,
please do.
It was just funny. Like, they were very supportive, you know.
Fantastic.
Sometimes they'd fucking argue with each other at my concerts, which was embarrassing, but like, they still like were there and, you know, dragged my fucking ridiculous drum set, which has only gotten bigger, you know, out to these shows for me, and it was really awesome to have them there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know, my parents were always supportive. They came to some shows that, you know, it wasn't necessarily. Well, then I had a bit of a different situation. I went away to school when I was young and stuff, so it kind of, you know, I wasn't like at home doing it from home. You know what I mean? So a bit of a different situation, but so nice to have a family that's behind you. Did you end up getting involved in like the stuff that's available when you're a teenager, like, you know, like band and orchestra and stuff like that?
I did. Like when I was, when I asked you earlier about like, you know, do you remember the moment? I was thinking like, I remembered that specific moment where I knew, you know, I wanted to do music, and it was like, we were in kindergarten, and we had like, you know, the bullshit music class where you get to like bang sticks together. Like, okay, this is a fucking samba beat or what, you know what I mean? Yeah. And, then they brought us into the older grade music class and yada yada, which, you know, you'd get to do next year or whatever. So when you start joining band, concert band, jazz band, all that shit. And the music teacher brought in his music teacher, and I remember just sitting there and like turning around and seeing this like this little old man with like a little mustache and just like in a little suit and just happy. And I remember looking at this guy and being like, it's like my guardian angel. It was weird. Yeah. And then just for some reason, like the way he was talking about playing like all these instruments, and I was just like fucking floored.
Yeah, man.
And I already loved the music. I would like put on baggy sweatpants and rip up a cardboard box and dance on the floor like MC Hammer and shit. Cool. But like, you know, once I saw this guy play like fucking 10 instruments right in front of my face, I was just like, this is it.
That's awesome.
Again,
you know, that reminds me of something actually. You know Caitlin Trezise, right?
Yeah.
She has asked me to come to her school for Careers Day, and you just reminded me why I should definitely do that.
Dude, you know for real, yeah.
Like, because any kind of inspiration when you're that age, sometimes that's all it takes.
It's random. Sometimes it's like a totally unexpected. And you're just like I remember I dated this girl who worked at a Montessori school in Philadelphia years ago. And she asked me to do like a music presentation. So I brought in, I had this sitar, like this big, huge double tuba fucking sitar. It was amazing. And a saz and like all these weird instruments. And I brought in a couple CDs to play for them. And I played this like Behold the Octopus. It's this crazy, like there's no 4/4 in it at all. Like it's totally angular and fucked up and crazy sounding. And I put it on and I see these kids are going like, whoa, what is this? Because you can't find one.
Yeah,
you know? And they were just like, I saw some kids be like, and then they were getting like all excited because I started playing like metal and shit. It was really funny. But that's awesome. Like sometimes, dude, like they're just blown away.
Yeah.
You know, and you never know if you can get into it. But with that, I wound up doing some, you know, concert band or whatever. But as I got older, I just wanted to do it alone more and more.
What was the, how did metal become the thing?
You know, all right. So, okay. That's a good question. So, I always listened to like all kinds of music. My parents would put on like a lot of the Beatles and like, you know, my dad always played like Mahavishnu Orchestra and Steely Dan was always on. I fucking love Steely Dan.
Yeah.
Just all kinds of shit. Tears for Fears, like, I mean, literally everything from jazz to like whatever. But then I remember hearing Faith No More on the radio and just being like, yo, what is this? Yeah. And then coming to visit my grandparents in South Florida in Boynton Beach and getting up in the middle of the night and watching TV, like sneaking TV, and Beavis and Butthead was on.
Yeah.
And they were playing Cannibal Corpse's The Bleeding. And I saw that and I was just like, what the fuck is this? I was like, do they even repeat parts? Is this improvised? Like, what is happening?
The power.
Dude, and then, that's what I'm saying. And then like I forgot the name, and then like months later, you remember like, you know, like the Big Brothers, Big Sisters organization? Yeah. Right? So I had a big brother and he was like kind of into metal, but you know, metal, he liked like fucking Nirvana or whatever. Like it's fine. But you know, at the time, and I'm like, dude, there was this band I saw, like, and I was like, what? It's like two names. And he's like, is it Fear Factory? I'm like, no, it's something worse. You know? And I don't remember how I wound up. I think I saw it again on Beavis and Butthead, but like, dude, I remember seeing that and just being like, what is this? I need this. And then finally found it. And my grandmother bought me a copy of Cannibal Corpse's Vile, which has a mummy on the front with like a dick that's mummified in barbed wire. Barbed wire. And I was like, thanks, Grandma. You know? Funny.
Oh, that's great. I just find that the whole death metal, how can we outgrow each other thing.
It was fucking absurd. Yeah.
It's
It's totally absurd.
Yeah.
But within that, there's so many subgenres. Like, personally, I'm not into like whatever. Like, it's all fine. I'm more into like more serious, even though like I'm not a serious person at all. But like all the I'm fucking devouring corpses and the fucking corpses. I'm just like, it's stupid. Like, what are you saying? Yeah. You're saying about as much as Britney Spears right now. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it has its place. I love horror movies and shit, but I want to. Well, I think wake fucking people up, man.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Right on. Yeah,
whatever that means. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think there's something that is so diverse and it's just a huge pile of niches.
Yeah.
Metal, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
If you had two people who are into metal in the same room, there's no way they'd be into the same thing.
Right. Yeah. Like but also you have a common ground because oh, what's that illegible pile of sticks on your shirt? Oh, it must be a metal logo. Like, It's like, all right, cool. Well, I don't have to like the same exact one, but it's everybody likes such a big mixture of it anyway. But
yeah,
some of it's just a little too like corny. I'm just like, all right, like it's enough irony. Like I want it to be angry and dangerous, or at least fucking terrifyingly weird,
Totally. So yeah, Cannibal Corpse was the start of it, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's like probably the most well-known death metal band I would say ever. But like that was the start of really like finding more extreme metal, because like I'd heard, like I said, fucking Faith No More.
Yeah.
Which specifically King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime, that album's incredible.
I don't know how old you are, but that album was the one that hit when I was the right age to receive it as well.
That was the one, like Digging a Grave was the song, and I heard that, I was like, wow. But then, of course,
for some reason I was like really into the gentle art of making
enemies.
Don't look so surprised.
So good. I deserve a reward because I'm the best fuck that you ever had.
Yeah.
So good. But that's Trace Bruant's on that album from Mr. Bungle, and I was like, no wonder I fucking like that album more than all of them. It's like
I had to a girlfriend years ago showed me Mr. Bungle. Yeah. She had so much better taste in music than me. Like and Dillinger Escape Plan and stuff.
Oh yeah, dude, that's my homies, dude. They fucking rule, man. Like and then they're all they all play with each other, and Mike Patton played with them and stuff. They fucking
there's that album.
So good, yeah. Irony is a dead scene. Speaking of irony being a dead scene, there you go. That's the album.
Yes, this girlfriend I had when I was around, I got to have been about 22. She opened the door for me for all that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
She had a bunch of her and all her friends were super into that kind of thing, that experimental.
Right. Yeah.
Which is really, I feel like that's kind of where you're at, sort of in my head.
For sure, and it's funny, man. Like, because it's always been difficult, like trying to like first start playing with people because I can play with anybody, like for the most part. Not to play with anybody, but like it's I play a lot of different kinds of shit. But like a lot of people, like jazz dudes, will be like, "Oh, he's a fucking metal dude. I don't want to hear pounding blast beats," or like metal dudes will be like, "Oh, he's too experimental," or whatever, and it's kind of frustrating. I'm like, "Can you just hear me? Like, hear me?" But yeah, I don't know. I forgot the question, but like,
that wasn't really one. It was just sort of talk. I guess we were kind of narrowing in on sort of where you sit as a player and your style, and actually, which kind of goes into the acts you've played with. Could you give us a little bit of an overview of sort of what you've been doing with that? Let's start sort of from early on, and which bands have you played with?
So a lot of metal stuff for sure. A lot of bands that I wish kind of got like more recordings and stuff done with. When I lived in Philly for years, there was an amazing, speaking of like experimental, stuff. There was an incredible like avant-garde and experimental music scene there, and a lot of the people, like, Mr. Bungle people and all that kind of would like filter through and play with a lot of the musicians there.
Oh, wow.
And it was really incredible. Like, I remember we had this one band like that we put together. We would just put together fucking random bands, and we called it Bulgina. I don't know why, but like it was me on bouzouki, which was fun. Our drummer, who is unbelievable. I can't even, they're all unbelievable.
Did you have like
bass
distortion bazooka?
No, it was like straight up like we actually transcribed like the Bulgarian
okay,
not
now
the wedding
Bulgarian
music.
makes more sense.
No, exactly.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
But like what is it? Le Mystère de Voix Bulgare, the mystery of the Bulgarian voices, like the female vocal choir.
Okay.
Have you ever heard that shit?
No.
It's fucking unbelievable, dude.
Oh,
It's
wow.
like spellbinding. But because it's like 30 women and they're all doing these like insane stacked fucking harmonies and it's
wow, cool.
nuts. But we transcribed one of those. And it was some of it was one was like a Greek, whatever, odd time signature bouzouki traditional song or whatever. But
How did you find yourself playing bouzouki?
I just loved it. I thought it was cool as shit, and I used my tax money to get one years ago.
Cool.
And it was really cool. It's like a big mandolin, and you could tune it. The Irish way is like G-D-A-D, but the Greek way is like C-F-A-D.
You play
And
with like
that's
a
how I
giant
did it.
triangular pick, right?
No, just regular one.
Okay.
Like for the bouzouki, because so there's the Greek one is like the round back, and then the Irish one is like it looks like a big mandolin, like a long neck mandolin.
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
And but I had the Irish one. It was actually made by Fender, but I tuned it the Greek way,
Okay.
which is the same, different notes, but the same intervals, like but as like the 4 highest strings on a guitar, so you can get like triad chords and all kinds of cool shit.
Yeah, and I feel like the stuff that sounds like it might be a muted sounding banjo in a lot of that Irish music, that's
Yeah,
bouzouki. Isn't it?
yeah, probably. And the way they play it, and it sounds slightly different from the Greek one, but yeah,
Yeah, cool.
that and
I find it really interesting how Irish traditional music, weird instruments ended up in it. Like, it's almost because if you look at kind of European folk traditions, it's and then the way it filtered over to the US, it usually comes that direction.
Right,
But then with Ireland, it almost went the other. Or it ended up with weird instruments in the 19th century. Like the banjo came from the US to Ireland.
It's
you know
so
what I mean?
strange. Well, maybe it's the same way as like really Eastern and really Western, like surf rock and Japanese shamisen music is like the same scales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows? Like it's all nothing's new, I guess. Like
Yeah,
who knows,
totally.
man? But yeah, it is weird. Maybe some kind of immigration thing.
I guess. I mean, well, there was, because I guess so many Irish people in the US, especially at that time, going back and forth. It must have just come over them. But you see these sort of like folk groups from the '60s in Ireland, and the instruments they're playing, they're not like. Banjo isn't an indigenous Irish instrument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's American. So I don't know. I always found it interesting.
Not like the bodhran or whatever, that fucking big drum thing,
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
I'm like just waiting to the time when I get a hurdy-gurdy. I have a
Yes.
hurdy-gurdy tattoo. Look at
Do
that.
you? Yeah, that's so cool.
So I just haven't managed to justify it financially yet because if
you
you
can
want to
build
get
one. Have you ever seen one of those?
I have seen the kits online, but I didn't
Dude.
realize they were any good. Is it like legit?
Who cares? It's fucking, it's awesome. You play it for 10 minutes and you'd be like, all right, that was cool.
So
Like,
my uncle Paul is in this band called Blow Zabella.
Okay.
And you'd appreciate them as someone who just enjoys, a broad cross-section of music.
Yeah.
And they've, over the years, they've had hurdy-gurdy players in the band. I think this latest album doesn't have one in, but it's the first album I think maybe ever that hasn't. And since hearing it as a kid, I was just really into the sound of them. And the fact that they have that kind of buzzing bridge,
So
that
cool.
it gives it the rhythm and everything, and it just sounds like a cross between like,
Violin,
violin
and,
and with this zing, zing, zing,
Uh-huh.
with this cool like sitar thing going
and you
on.
can
with
change
it
the
too.
rhythm of it too. Like, it's so
Yeah.
fucking weird. Yeah.
Exactly. So at the moment, it's a toss-up, right, between getting a nice set of bagpipes and getting a hurdy-gurdy. Because here's the thing: the bagpipes would make more sense for Killbillies.
Yeah.
But I like
Would
the
it though?
hurdy-gurdy.
You could still, it's a droning thing. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I know. I'm just sitting in this crossroads at the moment. It's like, which road do I take?
Hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I mean, I got the tattoo.
Yeah,
get
come
the
on, dog.
hurdy-gurdy.
You can't play a
Hurdy-gurdy,
fucking
man.
bagpipe with a hurdy-gurdy tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's
I
funny.
think it's about time. Yeah, totally. Yep. I saw some pictures of you holding a bouzouki, and I didn't realize. So, is it something? Let's get back to that story.
Yeah.
So you're in Philly, like
Yes.
playing this kind of really super, experimental scene on the bouzouki.
Yeah, and a bunch of other stuff, and it's funny too because, God, how can I? It was so incestuous, like the whole fucking like entire scene of people. But a lot of them were like into extreme metal and all kinds of shit. So I'll start with this one band. This band called Satanized was the name of the band, and it was literally just like all these dudes. It wasn't even metal; it was like noise rock kind of, but like
Right.
really angular and very like all just fucking just like unnecessary counting things the weirdest ways, and just very shrill. And there was shredding, but it was like if Big Black was shredding, you know what I mean? Like you never listen to that band, like what is that, Songs to Fuck To or whatever that album is?
Yeah.
It would be like that, but with shredding, and it was really odd. But all those dudes, like, you know, played in all these frickin' bands, and I mean, like, it was, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. But like, I remember the one guy, like, he would, this dude Alex Nagel, unbelievable guitarist, played in a million bands. This band, the Flying Lutenbachers, if you ever get the chance to check them out, unbelievable. But he did this thing. I mean, like, he could play anything. Like, you put a piece of the most complicated music in front of him, he'd sight read it and fucking play it on the guitar. He was an alien. But he used to do this shit where he would do C+ programming, and he called it C-section. And it was like this weird, whatever C+ programming that he got to make all these terribly horrific sounding fucking screeching things. And he would shred over it and like put contact mics on styrofoam and like, but what he would do, it sounds totally ridiculous. And I'm totally going on a fucking diatribe, like tangent about nothing. But like he would somehow like get these difference tones out of the guitar. So, you know, when an ambulance goes by, you hear the ascending and the descending note, and it goes like inside your head. Yeah. If you recorded that, you won't hear that. You only hear the ascending and the descending. That third note happens because of the notes, the vibrations, the frequency bouncing off each other in such a way, it makes your eardrum vibrate and create another note.
That's right. And
like a resonance
I did a thing about this when I was at university. That's right.
It's fucking weird.
People write music for that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I felt it's like,
dude, I would look around and some people would just be like this.
Yeah.
And like some people would get like fucking visibly like upset and leave. Like it was really funny, but he would like have this effect on people.
That's
like
what
really
viscerally.
That's
why I wrote my, not that him, obviously, but I wrote my thesis on that for university.
That's wild.
Like the physiological effects of sound and composers using that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's this guy, Ryoji Ikeda. You know who that is?
No.
He makes this stuff like music for rooms, and it's a similar thing where he'll get like standing waves. Depending where you're standing in the room, it sounds different.
Yes, and it sounds like it's traveling sometimes. That's what used to fucking freak me out, because he'd be like doing this thing, and then he'd look, and then he'd play this thing, and it would sound like it was like over here, and I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Like,
it's super interesting.
It is funny.
Like at the time, I wasn't really knowledgeable or potentially intelligent enough to pull that thesis off. Yeah. But I did have a lot of good time listening to the music.
Right?
I didn't do very well in the paper, but I learned a lot in the process.
Awesome. It's a really interesting fucking concept. You know, you can make sound bounce off of itself, basically, and make your ears create an extra note that's not even there. Like,
yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that in years. Yeah,
that's cool.
It's badass, man. Yeah, so getting back to bands. Okay, so you were in this awesome, what sounds like super fun, very creative sort of thing in Philly. Mm-hmm. What happened next? Band. What would you say was the band that you felt like you first sort of, were really in for a long time, and it was a big deal for you?
Well, geez, that probably was when I was like 14, but I don't even know. There's so many bands. I think when the bands that I started to like really take seriously or do serious things, and please forgive me if I'm forgetting somebody or something, but like, I think it was around, so the band Sylveth that I played in with my best friend Pat forever, and my other friend Alex, and our friend Mike and Thoros, whatever. That was a band where we really started kind of like trying to do stuff. And I had been playing from that band in Caged. This guy Alex was the second guitarist in this band. Then I joined his thing, which was called Sylveth. Yeah. And then this was in New Jersey, and then we wound up moving to Philly like separately. And I've lived in the Poconos before that, whatever, all over. But we started playing shows and, getting on like bigger shows, and we met, a bunch of people from there. But
cool.
I don't even know, dude. There was like 20 bands at that time. But
gotcha.
Like, that one.
It's a really interesting way to sort of go about sort of being in music, is you just spread yourself out over just did a whole bunch of different stuff.
You kind of have to do a bunch of different stuff. Now, especially if you're going to try to like make it at all. Like, look, you're doing a podcast, you're teaching, you're fucking performing, you're writing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to wear a million hats. I was talking to my friend Anthony about this too, and he has some really good ideas about how to fucking like focus all this stuff, and synthesize it. Yeah. But it's, I don't know, man. You really do have to, like, literally and figuratively wear hats sometimes.
It's true. You did a lot of session work, don't you?
Yeah, especially lately with the, like during this whole pandemic shit, I was like able to get together a pretty good recording setup and been kind of like pushing that a bunch and working on that. So yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Right now I'm
so you're doing that all from
shit.
Mostly from your house?
Yeah, from like studio, yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Yep, just a little garage,
What kind of gear are you running?
So man, let's see. So is recording stuff wise or just whatchamacallit, Studio One, which I like. I've been using that forever. I have this Tascam 16OX, whatever the hell, 8. It's like a 16 channel board interface. I have a couple different boards like that I use for pre's, but for the most part, there's pre's in the thing already. And
do you generally send like the stuff just sort of well recorded and dry, and then they do what they want?
I mix my own shit and I send like a like a stereo track, usually of drums, unless somebody's like, hey, let me like fuck with the stems, and usually I won't do that. Usually just because I don't want my drums fucked with. I want it to sound like I recorded it. And
hell yeah,
I don't want it to sound like I don't want people like sound replacing everything. Like I want it real drums.
Right on, yeah, okay.
Even if I'm using a trigger on the bass drum, like I'll blend it with a real kick.
Okay,
you know. But like,
that takes like a lot of proficiency and confidence to be like, no, you're getting a stereo track. This is
Well, and and I'll like if there is like, I try not to do any editing. Like I'll do punch-ins and stuff, but like I really don't like unless I'm like really fucking up. Like I don't want to. I mean, like I'm not going to be like, okay, I'm going to play a drum machine. Like I'm going to program the drums. Like just if that's what you want, program the fucking drums. If you want a human being, like that's. Can sound like a machine, but you can still tell that it's a human being, then, but whatever, yeah. I mean, that's specifically for metal, obviously, because nobody else, unless you're playing like fucking trap beats or something, wants you to sound like a machine. But
how busy have you been with it?
Pretty busy lately, and I've been doing a lot of stuff for my drum and guitar company and like a lot of playthrough videos, and I'm working on review videos and trying to get the reels things going and all the social media shit, trying to build up a lot of stuff so that I can kind of like sort of trickle releasing shit. Yeah. And aside from that, like recording other bands, recording guitar, recording my other band that I play guitar and sing in. It's like nonstop. So
been recording other bands at your place?
Yeah. Cool. So that's cool too. We got to actually record. So my awesome AR guy and friend Mike at D-Drum, he fucking rules, and his band with, a bunch of other awesome people who work over there and used to work there, whatever. They came down from Tampa and recorded the drum tracks with me for their, I think it would be an EP. They're called Virulence. They're it's sick. It's just killer, like death metal, straight up, not old school, kind of technical, and it's interesting, but it was cool being able to like, that was I had recorded other people before, but that was like the first, like, I'm like really sitting down with somebody and really being able to like push them and, and I realized, like, I really like that a lot. Like, being able to, like, let's try that part again, or, you know what I mean? Or, like, really, all right, here, no, like, nail this, or, like, being, like, a physical, like, metronome sometimes, like, it's fun. I enjoy doing that. But, yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to a couple of projects today. I had to listen to Surgeon. That was pretty awesome. How long were you with those guys?
So those guys, that probably was another one of those bands, going back to that earlier question about, like, what band really pushed it to the next level. That band, like, we got, like, before that, I had never played with a metronome, and then I started, like, live, and I started using that, and not for every band, but for them, like, because we played with backing tracks, and we wrote a lot of shit, and we made it like a big production, so that whatever. But Surgeon was killer. I played with them 2000, probably 11 or 12 to like 2014 when I moved here. Yeah. And then I actually did a tour with them. Yeah. Later, where I played double duty, but that was a lot of fun. They're really killer. They actually transformed into another band. They're called Arcanica now. All right. And it's some of the same people, and it's killer shit. Cool. So check them out. Arcanica from Philly. Yeah. I don't know which camera to point at.
Okay. Just for future reference, there's a little red light on it.
Oh, no, this one.
There you go.
Like this.
We have fun. We are laughing.
Like, which one do I look at? Funny.
So, yeah, all right. So have you done a lot of touring as well?
Yes.
Like,
And that was, man, we had so much more to do in this dang pandemic crap, I swear, dude.
Yeah,
I'm not talking to the mic. Yes, lots of touring. Europe, Mexico was fucking unbelievable. Mexico, Central America, man, what a great place.
Yeah.
I mean, terrifying, places all over the world, but like, there's also amazing places within those seemingly scary places.
Yeah,
too.
for sure. Yeah.
But there, like all over, like in Southeast Asia, through obviously Singapore, we were talking about that earlier, through Malaysia into Thailand, that was cool.
Yeah, we were talking about earlier. Who were you with over there?
That was with Hell Witch. That was a lot of fun. So I was filling in for Brian. I don't know. Do you know Brian Wilson at all?
No.
He rules. So awesome drummer. Plays with Yngwie Malmsteen. Actually, he's been playing with him for a while now.
I know Patrick real well.
Yeah. So there you go. It's the same whole family of people. Yeah, I'm sure in some way.
Gotcha.
But so he normally plays in Hell Witch.
Yeah.
And this is like 2018, and he was on tour with Yngwie at that point. Actually, he was in Malaysia at the same time we were and shit.
Oh, wild.
But yeah, he couldn't do it, so I filled in for them, and I did it, and it was fucking
Sick.
awesome. And I ate a bunch of food, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Pretty much all I did was eat food the whole time. And
Have you done the whole thing? Have you been through Europe too?
Yeah, so not like twice. So I went once in 2009. We played a show. What the fuck is that in Camden in London? It's the Roundhouse or some shit or something. No, wait, no, it was near Underworld.
Right. I'm going to sound stupid now because I've played in Camden a million times and I can't remember.
I don't know. It was awesome, though. It was a fucking blast. And then from there, like, I just traveled by myself. But then we did, like, a proper bus tour, like, 2019, I think, right before all this crap. And all over, like, Western Europe, We had a lot more stuff. We were supposed to play in Slovakia and Czech and Eastern Ukraine, but glad we're not there now. But, like...
Yeah.
All over Australia,
I going to
all over
Czech
Asia.
Republic is a lot of fun.
I fucking love Czech so much.
You know where I love, like, probably the most out of those countries is I just have such a good time in Hungary. I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, I've never been there. It looks so fucking sick. I mean, like it's that whole whatever you want to. People say Eastern, Central Europe.
Yeah, that little bit in the middle
amazing.
there. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I did when I was young. I did just some traveling around there, but then. All the years with Sonic Boom 6, we played a lot in that little bit there, like Czech and Croatia.
Yeah, they love that kind of
Serbia
stuff, dude. It's just a fucking party. Like, it's great,
And getting in and out was always, like, interesting, too. The funny thing about that is getting in and out of England is interesting now.
Yeah.
What a pain in the ass
really?
that is.
Man.
Because of this whole stupid situation with the EU, right? Now it's like we're not in the EU. And the people that hurts, it hurts a lot of different people, but one of the groups that hurts is musicians. Because going on tour now,
obnoxious.
I mean, the thing is, everyone in England, if there's anyone in England listening to this, they'll be like, yeah, all right, everyone knows this. But if you don't know, if you're American, you don't realize this. Now, any band who's not a huge band, who's trying to go to Europe, have to declare all of the merchandise you bring with them.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have all these different passes. Everything's super expensive, prohibitively expensive, to the point where people aren't doing it.
Yeah.
No,
it's true.
When
and
I was young,
like
it wasn't a big deal at all.
It's one country.
Exactly. When I was, my whole life, because I haven't lived in England since it's not been in the EU.
Right.
My whole life, we were in the EU, and it was just like, basically felt like the same country. You just go over there, and then we'd get to the edge of it, Croatia and stuff, and we'd be like, oh, that's when it got difficult.
Right. That's when
but
it
seems
seems
like right
different,
on a doorstep.
Uh-huh.
It was a joke.
It's funky, man. I don't,
Yeah.
I am glad that I'm in Florida, that's for sure, of all places to be right now. For sure. Like, never thought I'd say that, but here we are.
Totally. Yeah. No, that's that whole
No,
thing
it's obnoxious, man. I remember, like, for years, like, so it was another band that I toured with a lot, Master. I'm unfortunately not playing with them right now because, all this stuff. And Paul was like, well, you can't travel over here without vaccines. And I was like, well, cool. Guess you have fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever, that's fine, But yeah, what was my point there on that?
I can't remember. We'd been talking about touring.
Oh, right,
yeah.
traveling, yeah.
Did you ever make it to Australia?
No, that was a place we were supposed to go.
Yeah.
And it was all canceled.
The two places I've never been is Australia, and I've never toured in India either. I always wanted to do that.
That would be cool. My buddy's about to go there. I'm like, dude, you gotta tell me about that. That's going to be fucking crazy and awesome.
Yeah.
Like, again, I want to eat all the food, you know?
Yeah, really.
Everywhere I go.
Eat your way through Europe.
Yeah.
My brother is a big fan of India. He's been there a bunch of times, and he actually made some music for a Bollywood movie.
Oh, wow.
Pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
right?
That's
yeah,
pretty funny.
I'm not exactly 100% sure of the situation, and I think he might have been like sort of used a little bit, but they just kind of had him like in a house and was just kind of farming him for music. But I mean, he had the best time. He learned so
That's cool.
much. Yeah, it was awesome.
Man, some of those like North Indian classical musical instruments, or even, well, not even specifically North, but like those things are like the sarod. Have you ever seen that thing?
No, I mean,
it's
maybe I
fucking
have.
crazy.
What does
It's
it look
like this big, it's like a guitar, but with like a million strings, but it has, the neck is like metal. It's like smooth metal. So it's obviously microtonal, but it's like this, it's like a violin guitar that
That's a
you
huge
could shred on.
smooth metal neck. Sounds
Yeah,
crazy.
and it's like big and wide, but it, and it's like very
I know what you're on.
aggressive. Like but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
all metal, and it's be like go crazy on it.
There's this Indian British UK artist, Sheila Chandra. Have you ever heard of her?
No,
She's really cool. You should check it out. She was involved years ago with doing music with my uncle Paul, but she's a really interesting musician. And one of her albums is all, they do that thing with the tabla where they before you learn how to play it, you spend years sounding it out.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, she's got an album of just that.
Exactly,
yeah.
Dude, that shit's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking nuts.
It's so cool.
There's this guitarist from Sweden, Matthias Eklund, and he does a ton of that, dude. And he's like amazing at it. Like he studies all the ragas and whatever the Indian,
Yeah.
And he'll like be like shredding in 1916 and like doing in some fucking crazy like polyrhythm. It's like ridiculous, man. It's funny.
I figured if I knew anyone who'd know about that kind of thing, it'd be
Exactly. It's like,
That's cool. Have you ever played with anyone who has like microtonal guitar? Have you ever seen like been involved?
so, yes. So, well, have you ever seen King Lizard and the Gizzard Wizard, whatever? King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard?
I know about it, but no.
Yeah, no, microtonal guitarist, whatever. But so there was this dude. I don't want to say his name because he like kind of was a dick to me on the internet.
No.
So I'm not gonna say it. But he this dude made these microtonal guitars and they're fucking unbelievable. But he's nuts. He's out of his mind, sadly.
Right.
But
gotcha.
yeah, amazing. I was thinking about doing that. So that bouzouki, I had sold it. Unfortunately, this was like years ago at this point. But I always wanted to do like put quarter tone frets on it. Because
Yeah.
I have that Saz, which has the quarter tone frets, and that fucking thing is amazing. And I'm like, what would this sound like? Or what would a banjo or one of those banjo guitar things sound like with quarter tones? And
Yeah.
I think it can be done like microtonal music. Like when you say microtonal music, you expect to hear some fucking cacophonous, like horrendous noise thing, or you expect to hear like Middle Eastern music. And I think if it's done properly, where it's not just trying to be like, oh, we're playing F sharp or whatever, just to be heady and it sounds like shit, that's not worth it. But if it's some Turkish shit and
You
you're
can
like,
get some flavor. It's just about the flavor of the note, isn't
Yeah,
it? That's
exactly.
Just
Rather
very
than-
slightly changes it. And I used to be almost like reverse snobby about it. Like, I used to be like, oh, come on, but actually that's exactly. When you're talking about Middle Eastern music and stuff, you can hear how it's used very, very effectively.
Right.
Yeah. No doubt about
And
it.
sometimes they'll hang on that fucked up note. You know what I mean? But it sounds good. You're like, okay, all right. Because I get it, it's more modeled after the human voice. Like I know specifically with Indian music, and I would imagine with like Turkish music, they like that, like these little kind of like descending fluttery scale things that they do.
Yeah.
Is modeled after the human voice. But I know of course, like in the Europeans, we have to have separate notes for everything. But like whatever. I'm just guessing that's how it evolved. But I who knows?
Yeah.
I think from now on at Killbilly gigs, when I screw up and you look at me funny, I'm just going to be like microtonal, baby.
Yeah. I'm European. Sorry. That's terrible.
Yeah, man. So this is going to be an interesting question. Is there? I mean, I imagine I sort of have an idea of what your answer might be, but do you have a writing process?
Yes. For my shit, it's weird. Because I do a lot of collaborative shit, so it depends on the situation. I kind of have like a few different ways I like to go about it. But all right, so for like my stuff specifically, where it's just me playing everything, and I can just fucking circle jerk myself into oblivion, and if I hate a part, it doesn't matter. I'll just come up with a riff or something, and then try to say a head or a hook or a chorus, whatever. Even though that doesn't even apply to half the shit I write, but yeah, exactly, something catchy, something good. No, but like
jazzy,
yeah, whatever, just like a thing, and then try to like be like, okay, and again, this process might change, but sometimes I want to do it this way, where okay, I got this idea. How many different things can I come up with, like relating to that, or like inversions of that, or whatever, and make different riffs, but kind of have like this common theme of this, and then sometimes I just string shit together, and it's kind of all over the place, dude. A lot of times I'll just hear something and kind of go nuts, but there is sometimes too where like I'll hear just a little bit of something and then write it out, and then keep writing and not even have an instrument in my hand, and be like, okay, this makes sense here, like in my head, because I can just look at it and hear it. You know what I mean? Like, and then you go to play it and you're like, oh, this is garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. When I was at university, I did quite a lot of just writing.
Yeah.
But then, I rapidly discovered that I wasn't as good as I thought.
Yeah.
I might be, but, It's
like I need a flute or something in my hands.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, my music degree was fun. Because, I think when you're at school doing it like that in composition, you really just get to do... You're encouraged to experiment, do whatever you want. Maybe that's the one time in my life where it was just like an open. It's just like do whatever you want. The weirder, the better. Like it was fun.
But they won't teach you about odd time signatures and shit, which drives. I never understood that. I'm like, you can go to Berkeley and not learn about that at all. And I'm like, why wouldn't you do that? That's like every music ever except for. Yeah, pop country music.
I was pretty lucky with that in that side of things. I had a really good composition teacher, and he was a. Have you ever heard of the classical composer Lutosławski?
No.
He's did a lot of really weird stuff.
Nice.
It's like modern, modern composition. I don't know if there's that many people out there who you wouldn't say to a layman. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, but it's great.
Yeah. But there's a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, check it out. And he was a student of him. And this guy Lutosławski is quite a famous composer, and he was just like, he was actively encouraging us to come up with really out there ideas. And one of the ideas that Lutosławski had for writing songs was this idea of mobiles. So you'd have imagine different spinning things that are made out of like a sort of melodic idea and a rhythmic idea, and then how they interact with each other as they turn, kind of thing, almost like in kaleidoscopic fashion. You know what I mean?
But this isn't a physical thing. This is just the idea.
Just the idea to create the music.
That's fucking wacky.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the musical game Cobra?
No.
That John Zorn?
Yeah.
Naked City and all that. So he came up with this thing, and this was like a lot of these people that I used to play with in Philly would do this, and they'd do it, and it was so fucking cool. They did this in this place called the Rotunda, this big open, and they'd have like Tuvan throat singing and all kinds of weird shit there.
Love that.
But you get however many, I don't know all the rules, but a round or whatever, half round of people, whatever, 10, 20 people, and there's like a director guy, and he has all these different cards, and you put on a hat, and it makes him call a different card, and like all these things, or I don't even know how to fucking describe it, but it's insane, and like you hear it, and you're like, wow, it sounds like the most insane composition, but it's everybody just like playing a game.
That's cool.
They'll do a thing like, I forget how they signal it, but where everybody just makes a sound and it goes in a circle and it it sounds fucking crazy, man.
There's so much stuff like that, when you're doing a degree and you get to look at like John Cage and stuff.
Yeah.
And, all that stuff. Yeah, we did John Zorn as well.
Yep.
And I can't remember which composer it was, but there was one where you just get everyone in the entire building to play C for as long as they can. And it's just like the whole building is just playing C.
It's not John Cage, but what's the other guy?
Yeah.
Steve Reich?
I think it might be Steve Reich.
Something like that. That's funny.
Totally.
All that minimalist stuff. I always wanted to start like a minimalist prog band. So you're just like shredding this thing just over and over.
Yeah, man. All right. So the other question, which is almost a silly question to ask you, is: do you practice?
Not as much as I used to.
That surprises me.
But I do, like, when I have, like, so now I'm recording this this war metal. That's another specific subgenre. There's also bestial war metal, which I can't tell the difference between those two, but whatever.
Right.
This album for this band called Idris Trine, which I was telling you earlier, is this chick, Zeke is her name, ZKD she goes by, and it's just like the most intense fucking music I've ever heard in my life. It's literally like 300-something BPM blast beats the whole time, like nonstop for 4.5 minutes, every fucking song or whatever.
Right.
But my point being, this shit is so like physically endurance challenge, basically, that I like have to kind of like really like warm up and practice to be able, because I sit down and I can't just start blasting like that. It takes a while to warm up. I got to get really sweaty and fucking,
Have you noticed any change as as you're sort of getting older in years?
Yeah. So I used to break cymbals constantly, and I'm talking about like giant, ridiculous cymbals, thin cymbals, everything. Like I would just destroy them all the time, and I would also get like horrendous fucking calluses on my hands that would turn into blood blisters, and then have blisters under the blisters, and they would be shredded. I'd have to like glue them and tape them. Now my hands are smooth as a fucking baby's ass, dude. I don't know why. I changed the way I play, I guess. Yeah. I still fucking hit the shit out of the drums, but like, feel how soft my hands are. But like, they're so soft, which is weird because I always had fucked up, gnarly hands from working and shit. But I noticed that. I noticed like, I'm able to do, I used to have a hard time kind of like synthesizing. So I had like, jazz or kind of funk stuff that I'd be able to play like easily, but I'd have to play it on a completely different setup, completely different feel drum set than what I would play like extremely fast, like, typewriter, tasteless fucking blast beat shit on. Now, so I had like the, the thesis, the antithesis, and now I can synthesize it so I can do blasty shit, but also play like really groovy shit at the same time. Cool. So things have gotten a lot easier overall, for sure. I feel like I'm exerting less energy and I'm getting a lot, I'm able to do a lot more without trying.
Yeah, so that's interesting because when I asked the question, it was just I was thinking about it more in terms of just the speed and endurance, and I thought it might you might have kind of said the opposite, but it's actually you're better. Yes, but I have to work just as hard to do it to get to that point. But maintaining it say like 2008, me playing this shit, I'd be dead. Like I would use all my energy to do what I do now, and I'm like using a quarter of it now. Yeah. But I'm hitting harder and I'm playing faster than I've ever played. That's amazing. There's a few players that I know, and, it's not because it doesn't really necessarily sort of dovetail with what the kind of music I spend my time playing, but there are a few people I know who are kind of like playing like at the edge of like human sort of capabilities. You know what I mean? Like Scott, the way he plays guitar, and people who are just like really up there. And it's always interesting for me to talk to you guys. I actually texted Scott the other day, asked him the same question. I was like, you noticing as you get older that it's becoming sort of more difficult or easier. And I realized after I wrote it kind of sounded like I was saying like, so
old man.
Yeah. And he kind of took the piss out of me a bit and said, so now I'm the old guy.
Right, yeah.
But no, he said he hasn't noticed it yet, so I guess it must, when you get to a certain point, it must start, well, maybe that's when you get to your 70s.
Yeah, well, that's what I always was like, man, when I can't do blast beats anymore, I'll just fucking play fusion. Like, I'll be good. I'll just pull the Billy Cobham and fucking call it a day. Like, it's fine, Like, that's tough. I kind of want to do that now, to be honest with you, but yeah, it's funny.
There's got to be something to it, though. Like, I understand what you're asking and how the thought process is as you get older, you would get slower, and I imagine that at some point that's true. But I mean, not to sound like an idiot, but I'm playing bass at like the best level that I've ever played in my life, and way better than when I was in 20s and 30s, so, and with less effort. So I don't know. It's got to be a technique thing, maybe as you get older, like your technique changes and you start working smarter, not harder, I guess.
Yeah, that's such a huge obstacle I noticed. Like with surprisingly, a lot of metal musicians like don't have good technique, and I'm like, dude, like it's so much of it is technique, like to make your job easier, like, And I'm like, dude, I'll look at guys and they're like fucking doing all this awkward shit. And I'm like, bro, just relax. Just relax the shoulders. Stop fucking, like just. And I'm like, man, like, what happened? Why, like, why didn't you figure this out earlier?
Chill a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, and like, or dudes not using their pinky. The fuck are you want your children to not have pinkies? This is what's gonna happen. You stop fucking using it, you're gonna be born with flipper kids. Like it's not gonna. Nobody's gonna have fingers anymore if you're not using them.
Who will remain nameless. I was teaching him today, and I was like extolling the importance of the pinky.
Yeah,
like, come on. You got 5 fingers using.
I'm just the opposite. I always use pinky and I don't use my ring finger.
Yeah, whatever. You're using the pinky though, you know. Yeah. It's all about the pinky.
Yeah. I only use the pinky.
Yeah, I only use the pinky. Like you fucking pinky and the thumb. You got to tuck these fingers in though when you do it. Like here, shake my hand.
You guys are like Legos, man.
All right, this is getting silly. I think at this point we should listen to some music, and we should watch a video, and we'll get right back. 561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It is a biker bar in Tequesta. Tequesta's, if you don't know, is a little town that's just north of Jupiter. If you're heading north out of Jupiter on US 1, you see a little yellow building on your right, and almost always there are a bunch of bikes outside it because it is a biker bar. It's called Handlebars, just in case you were curious if it was a biker bar or not. Definitely is one. And but we do let other people in there. If you don't ride a motorbike, you're allowed to come and have a beer. It's a real cool spot. There is what they call open mic, open jam on the fourth Sunday of every month that I run from 4 to 7, and that is all ages, all abilities, all styles. It's if you just want to come and hang out and try something out, or if you don't get the opportunity to play with other people, you should come and play with us. It's good fun. Hector actually came to the last one last week, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, man, it was fun. It was a good time. Yeah, brought my son. He did some drums and stuff.
Yeah, it was cool. Time. And yeah, Gavin actually brought his kit up there, and I think in the future he might come again and hang out with us. It was a lot of fun. So if you want to come to an open jam, fourth Sunday of every month, we'll be there from 4 to 7. Now we also do a bike night on the second Thursday of every month. This month is May the 12th, and Killbillies are playing from 6 to 9.
Oh, okay, cool.
It is actually our inaugural gig there. We've never done a gig at Handlebars, which, considering my father-in-law owns a bar, is long overdue. So it's about time.
Or says something about our talent. I don't know.
Well, I've been booking the band, so I don't know what that says.
Damn.
It says something about my talent.
But anyway, we'll be there on May 12th and for bike night from 6 to 9. So if you've never checked out the bar but you like Killbillies, you should come on May 12th. And outside of that, it's open every day of the week. It's a cool spot. Got great food, great beer. Bernsey the chef is a good laugh. He's a lot of fun. Come and say hi to him. And Handlebars Bar and Grill. Thank you so much, Handlebars, for sponsoring the podcast. It means a great deal to us.
Yeah.
And the other sponsor we have is a Kava bar on Indiantown Rd. It's called Oasis Route. Now, this place is run by this cool guy called Jim, who is a huge supporter of the podcast. And the reason that he does this was obviously, it's good to get the name of the bar out there, but really he's doing it to support local music, and he's very cool about it. Anyone who goes into the Kava bar, he always says, "Oh, you should check out the podcast." In fact, I think he's a little more. I think he makes them subscribe to it. So respect.
You can't have your drink until you subscribe.
Yeah. So respect to Jim for being such a huge supporter.
Maybe
of
that's
podcasts.
why our YouTube numbers are so high.
Yeah. It's like exclusively Kava drinkers,
right?
Anyway, if you've never had Kava before, it's a Polynesian root that grind up and mix into like a drink with water, and it has an effect that it sort of just mellows you out. It's not really like alcohol. You don't get drunk or anything like that. It just sort of chills you out. And so if you've never had it, you should go check it out. There's a lot of different types of Kava bars out there. It's a relatively new thing. And some of them are kind of, it's not a new drink, but it's a new concept for people who do, in North America. So it's just the whole kind of industry is kind of finding its feet. And there's some places that are like sort of clubs, with sort of, UV and playing EDM all the time and stuff like that. And if that's your jam, then, you can go to that. But Oasis isn't really like that. It's a lot more chilled out. It's kind of like a cafe vibe. And, nice wood bar and it's kind of bright and breezy in there. People just shooting the shit. It's kind of like a coffee house, really. It's nice. It's chill. So
does sound nice.
Yeah. So if you like that kind of thing, you should go check it out. Oasis Route. And thank you so much, Jim, for supporting the podcast. Now, all right, so we just watched amazing video of you playing along to your
Stupid,
amazing
crazy
Spentest
video
band.
is what we watched.
Of course, I'm wearing this shirt like a fucking asshole, but yeah.
No, it's badass.
Thank you.
Yeah, and can you tell us a little bit about that project?
So, yeah, that's just been me, trying to find musicians that can play this shit for years, and it just wound up being me, basically. It's just like some of the insanity that I hear in my brain when I'm walking down the street, riding a bike or whatever. Yeah. And just guitar riffs that automatically are filled in with drums in my head at the same time. And it's me
It's incredible.
on music,
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we were talking about while we were watching it was just how effortlessly you play such difficult music.
Thank you. It's funny too, because I was saying my buddy Eugene is an unbelievable drummer. Eugene Ryabchenko, if you have a chance to check him out, he's a fucking freak. He did a review of that video, and he was like, "Yeah, it looks like it's too easy for you. Like, maybe like." Pretend it's like a struggle, like pretend you're struggling a little bit. But it was funny. He's like, well, I know because you're trying to remember these parts. And I was like, actually, like all the odd time and whatever weird parts are like burned in there. Like I don't have to think about it. I was actually like improvising over most of those. But the blasting parts was the part where I was like, okay, don't you miss one hit,
Yeah.
Because that you have to be like really consistent with that shit, especially also when you're doing like double stroke shit and using the triggers, the velocity has to be like the same every hit. Otherwise you'll drop a note and then I'm not going to fucking sound replace and throw a note in there. I want to play the shit.
Right? And you do the 2 bass drums, not the
yeah. And you know what's funny? Like it just looks more badass. It's more badass. You look manly. Yeah. But but I have no problem with double pedal or even a single pedal. I used the double pedal forever, but I would always break the fucking drive shaft like constantly.
Right. Yeah.
Because I was breaking shit all the time. So I was just like, you know what? 2 bass drums, fuck it. Sorry guys. Like maybe I'll stuff a floor tom inside this bass drum. It's taking up more room in the fucking band now, but
right,
no, it's necessary.
Yeah.
Unless I'm playing like a fucking like whatever, just a gig at Bull Bar, which rest in peace. But
No, that's Patrick's. That was the 2 kicks as well. I think it's badass.
It is badass. Like, why would you not play with 2? The thing that drives me fucking crazy, though, this I cannot abide, is when people have 2 bass drums and they use a double pedal on 1 bass drum. Get that fucking bass drum out of there. You're not using it. You're a faker. You're a faker baker. Get that left bass drum out of there if you're not using it. Don't hide your fucking shameful double pedal behind it. Fuck you. Get that other bass drum out of here. No fucking games here. No, but for real. Like, why would you even have the other bass drum? You're just making, all those people aren't carrying their own fucking drums. They're making somebody else carry that extra drum. Like, I'm just going to carry my pedal. Just get my fucking drum that I don't play. This is the biggest drum on my set that I don't fucking play. Stupid. But yeah, otherwise, double bass, drums all the way, for sure.
Sick. It was amazing. So you were saying, I wasn't aware of this. I'd seen this video before. I wasn't aware there's vocals on the original.
Yeah, and I don't know why people always take off the vocals for playthrough videos, but I did.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, why not?
Just kind of industry standard thing.
It seems like it. I don't know why. Fuck it.
The
next one's going to have vocals.
Metal things.
Yeah. Like, well, I just really wanted to focus on the 6 instruments all shredding simultaneously, so I can't hear any singing. It's like it strains the royal ear. Like, what the fuck?
So where can people find that music?
So you can go a Mesa Spentas, which they're not even words. I made them up. It's a extrapolation of this thing in Zoroastrianism, the Amesha Spenta, which are like the holy immortals or secret chiefs or whatever nerd shit. When I was stoned, but you can go on YouTube, Amesa Spentas, Amesa Spentas. I had to look on my shirt to remember how to spell it. Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram. That's probably where I'm most active, and then I link to everything on there. But awesome. Ruston Grosse at Instagram. Your fucking mom's house. Yeah. Funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, what I think the next thing we should do is have a look at this amazing guitar that you were showing me earlier.
I should have brought it.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
So what's going on with this guy? Is that between your 2 kicks?
So yeah, it is.
That's cool.
It's right between the 2 kicks there. But
it's a very sexual picture,
dude. Look at the angles and everything spread wide open, just waiting to be played. Not plowed. So that is the gorgeous Dean ML multi-scale 7-string featuring this gorgeous, everything's gorgeous, Kaler USA trem. It's got fucking push-pull coil taps. It's got the Nazgul and Sentient Seymour Duncan pickups, angled pickups. It's mahogany body, fucking maple top, maple or burl, mapler. I don't know. The thing's fucking ridiculous, dude. I need 7 strings. The unique thing about this, not to go off on a totally tangent, total tangent here. A lot of companies that do the multi-scale, you see how the frets are angled, and it's, as it goes down, it gets more of a steep angle, yada yada yada. The neutral fret, or the parallel, or I'm sorry, the 90 degree to the neck fret is generally the 7th or 9th.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I have to kind of like show you with my hand. If you are in the first position of your guitar, your hand doesn't bend backwards like this to get notes. So for them to start, this is really odd to explain. If the straight normal fret is in the middle of the neck, the frets this way are going to be bent this way, and the frets this way are going to be bent this way. Yeah. Like a pendulum, right?
Yeah.
If you have that here, how are you going to play a guitar like this?
Yeah.
So their neutral fret, or the parallel fret, is actually the nut. It's the 0. And then it starts to go this way. So none of the frets are actually 90 degrees. But if you think about it, and especially playing, I don't play the guitar over here. I play it like this. It's comfortable. It's natural. My hand goes here. My hand's here, like this, in the first position. And as you go up, what happens?
Yeah.
I don't go like this to play the guitar. My hand goes like this.
Yeah.
I don't go like this. I'm just here, down. So having the fucking 0 fret be the neutral fret makes so much more sense. This makes even more sense if I had the guitar in my hand.
Yeah,
but there's just a million things about this guitar that I love.
I'd
a
love
fantastic
to have
fucking company.
really
yeah, right. And it's I'm just nerding out, but the company Armadillo, they own D-Drum as well. D-Drum, Luna Guitars, they make ukuleles and shit. Killer company. And Dean, and they're fucking amazing. Everybody over there, Chris, Mike, other Chris who's not there anymore, but you're amazing. Andrew, Evan, everybody's amazing.
Yeah.
They're a great company. I love all their shit.
Hi guys at Armadillo.
And
check out 561 Music.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. So, all right.
But also those drums were D-Drum drums, and they're sexy.
Yeah, they did look pretty nice. You got anyone else you need to shout out?
Yeah, for sure. Axis Percussion, Vratum Drum Shoes, Orion Cymbals. I'm forgetting Iron Age Athletic Sportswear.
There you go.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Amazing.
Well, I tell you what, I'm surprised the list isn't longer. You are just phenomenal drummer, an unbelievable musician across the board.
It, dude.
I got to ask you, on that video, man, like, what was the BPM on that?
240, that one.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I figured out a way, even with all the fucking changes and time signature changes, the tempo is the same, so I was able to just, for the metronome, make a smaller subdivision, like 16th notes or something, so I don't have to program anything. It's just one tempo.
Dude,
that makes any sense. Yeah, nerding. But yeah, rather than like changing like all the fucking feels or whatever, I just made more notes, and then it all lines up. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to explain this. I'm like, ugh.
That's awesome. So the other thing is, what have you got coming? Have you got anything in the pipeline coming up? Gigs, releases, anything like that?
So a bunch of albums for sure. I've been working on like 3 different albums right now for my, Mesa Spentos, my album, which is all done. I just got to fucking, put it out properly.
You were playing me some stuff that sounded pretty similar to this years ago.
It was probably the same shit, honestly. Right, and I have like a few more songs now too, but it was just like stuff that I'd never recorded. Like I'd played with Derek Roddy on drums. I don't know if you know him. He's a fucking animal. Like he known for like, more extreme metal stuff, but he did that like that Dream Theater drum tryout thing or whatever. Okay. He was one of the guys on there.
Wow.
And like he was like one of the 2 other people that I've ever gotten to like actually be able to play this shit.
Yeah.
But totally forget where I was going with that again. But yes.
Yeah, in your dream
stuff in the pipeline.
Yeah, stuff in the pipeline, yeah. Random. So that another band which we're changing the name, so I'm not even gonna say, you'll see it if you follow me on the socials, but that I was playing guitar with. We had a singer. We lost our singer. I'm going to be playing guitar and singing now. So I've been working on that. That's cool. Bunch of recordings. This band in Texas called Yidris Trine.
Yeah.
Some more stuff coming. I can't really say yet, but
that's cool.
Some other good stuff.
It's all in the pipeline coming up. That's cool. If you, in your project, if you had a choice of which instrument you would play out of all the others, which one would it be?
And a Mesa Spentos or whatever, definitely guitar and singing.
Okay.
And that's like, because I like wrote all this shit on that, so it's like, but it's still, I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I don't have to drag a ridiculous drum set, a Rector set out everywhere I go. You know what I mean? That's cool. But I'm like, damn, like singing and playing is just as hard as playing drums. energy wise, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Especially if you got to like think about what you're doing. You're like, and you're like, wait.
Yeah,
You
totally.
know?
The other question that I was curious about, that it just sort of came to me after, when we were listening to that thing there, is, and also in relation to what you were saying about with the kind of metal you like, is where do you draw your lyrical inspiration from?
For me,
Yeah.
I mean, this might sound like corny to a lot of metal people, but and especially with the newer lyrics too, it's all about like giving it up, giving glory to God, and waking people the fuck up, like, because whatever that means to you. And I don't do it like, like praise Jesus, like immediately right out of whatever, but like, I don't know, dude, like shit's crazy. Like, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
And like, it's definitely, shit's always been crazy, and that's kind of what it's always been about to me, forever. It's always been about like
getting to the source of things.
Yeah, like, bettering yourself through whatever you feel is the way to do that. You know what I mean? And for me, it is what it is, and for other people, it's different. Bettering yourself, or just becoming a better person, or the struggles that you go through in life, and then just, putting a mirror in front of people. Not that I'm perfect, I'm a fucking idiot, but like, like some of the bullshit that goes on in the world. It's, all the music that I've ever been influenced by is like calling bullshit on something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so big themes, like serious big themes.
I'm just hating. Everything is just hate. Hate on it all. No, it's the opposite. It's all about love. No hate. No fear. Just all love.
All right.
Like, oh no.
I'm not,
and on that note, no.
No, that's really interesting, and I think that it says a lot about you, that you take it very seriously and that it means a lot to you. And but when it comes to music in general, that's something that I appreciate and I look out for. So that's cool, Ben. It's badass. Good answer.
Likewise. Yes, dude.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on
dude,
the show.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, man. You guys rule.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. And if you didn't hear us before going on about it, please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, because that appears to be the place that most people are consuming this. So get on that subscribe button and like the videos, and hopefully our views will continue to rise and we shall take over the world. The Florida music scene will become the biggest music scene in the world. That's my plan.
You want to do a quick Kill Billy shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. What have we got coming up?
We got private wedding in
so
Friday.
everyone come to that.
Yeah,
so everyone come to that. Saturday, you guys are playing a duo at Square Grouper in Jupiter.
3 to 6, yeah.
Nice.
And then in the evening, we were playing full band Meg O'Malley's in Melbourne.
Yeah. We're going all the way north, then all the way back south, and all the way north again.
And then you've got something on Sunday, don't you?
Oh, what am I
or
doing
maybe
on
you don't.
Sunday?
Maybe you don't. It's not on my schedule,
Let
so
me
maybe
find
you
out.
don't.
Hang on, I better check.
Yeah,
Let's
maybe
see.
you don't.
Let's
You
just
might
waste
not.
everyone's time here. Oh no, nothing this Sunday.
Nothing. So that's it then.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Don't forget about the 12th at Handlebars.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be cool. Hang on, maybe
There's probably like 37 gigs before then, so that's why I didn't bring that up.
You know what's happening this Sunday? The first day of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month.
Well, there you go. So happy Asian Pacific
American Heritage Month.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're Asian Pacific American, then
Or a month.
Happy Heritage Month.
Or a month,
Yeah, if you're a month, you know.
All right, cool.
Thanks for coming by, man.
Thank you
Appreciate
guys
it.
for having me.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah,
nice
dude. This is awesome.
It's what we're doing. Come and check it